So let's talk about my first ceremony. I decided to do a fraction dose. It's about like 1/3 of the whole dose. There is a specific amount that you can take within a week. And I think at first, maybe because of the fear, I was like, I'll just start with a smaller dose. But now, looking back, I'm really, really grateful that I did. Because starting with a smaller dose, it's like you're in a computer game level 1. So you don't go into the level 10. You go into the level 1. And you figure out the game. You pick up some tools. I'm not big on video games, but when I was little, we had the Super Mario. Let me know if you remember that. And I felt like starting with a low dose kind of gave me an opportunity to, go in on level 1, pick up those little tools. Here's how you navigate this. And the trip wasn't too heavy. It's actually like easier on your heart. It's easier on your mental health. It doesn't just like, bust your psyche right open. They say that some people need that. Maybe some people need that. Just be like, honestly, demolished. But I have done a lot of work on myself and I have a very sensitive nervous system. So I felt like for me, I'm going to start slow. And to be honest, on a spiritual perspective, I think the plant also appreciates that because the plant is so powerful that you have to approach it with like reverence. You almost have to approach it with like a little bit of fear. You are going to see the most powerful plant medicine in the world, and the way to go and see him is on your knees and very humble, very, very humble. I heard some stories of people who they're like, yeah, I've done ayahuasca 20 times, it's fine. And then they went in there and one guy told me that the first thing that the plant told him is like, well, if you come with this attitude, you might as well die. And he was like, shit. And then you're stuck with this vibe for like 12 hours, 8 to 12 hours. And all your defenses are going to be demolished. If you go in with any ego, it's going to be freaking demolished. It's going to show you like a lot of dark things. It's going to tell you all the dark things about yourself. That's why I really recommend doing shadow work before. Like if you want to go see this plant, if you want to go heal with this plant, and it's not like particularly urgent, like you are a heroin addict and you're going to like overdose in a week. If you don't go, then go now. But if you got some time to spare, I really recommend like do some shadow work. Write down the things about you that are not great. Write down the things that you've done wrong in your life. Write down the people that you've wronged in your life. Like really do some reflection, because I think that will make the journey a lot easier. And also it's part of the natural spiritual growth. You can't get into the light if you haven't seen your darkness. That is just part of your spiritual evolution. When I first started my spiritual journey, it was all about just like light and love and unicorns. And then it's like, no, it's also like death and puke and terrible things and trauma. So I really respect people that have done shadow work, and my last album was called Shadow Work. So those who know. But I went into the ceremony with a lot of humility. So I went in with a small dose. And they say it takes like 45 minutes to an hour and a half for it to kick in. But I feel like my first dose kicked in really fast. And the first thing I was given a mantra, which went like, I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm with God. I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm with God. And I was told to keep repeating that mantra. So I was repeating that mantra, I think, in earth time, maybe for like an hour. And I realize now, with my experiences with the plant, that I think it pulls out the old programs and puts in new programs. And as you see, my very first intention was to feel safe in the world. So I think it just put that program now into my psyche, into my system. So I used to have a program that said, I'm not safe in the world, connection isn't safe, people aren't safe, and my new program is, I'm safe, I'm protected, I'm with God. And also the reason why I was given that mantra and was made to repeat that might have been to clean the space, to clear the space. The traditional witty music is actually all prayer music. So maybe if I had the prayer music, my space could have been more naturally protected. But because I was just listening to like a new agey spiritual playlist, there also might have been an element where I was kind of just like protecting the space, because at some point it kind of like it wasn't important for me to do that, and then I just kind of like knew that it wasn't. I was listening to that playlist, and you know, some songs were lighter and some songs were darker, and I started thinking, wow, the power of music, how much the music has the power to just, you know, guide this journey. And right away this big music came, and it was like, what are you talking about? You know, not feeling connected to your music, not feeling like you want to even do music. Because I'm going to be honest with you, for the past 6 months or maybe even longer, I've actually been contemplating not making music anymore. I mean, I will always make music. It's not something that I can like not make. But because the business aspect and the project management aspect and the marketing aspect around it is so hard. And while promoting Oversoul, I was living in Bali, so I was in a different time zone. I was doing night shifts, and it wrecked my health. Like, it completely wrecked my mental health, and it completely wrecked my body. I gained like 10 kilos, like cortisol through the roof, like anxiety, like sitting on my phone doing this marketing. I realized I developed like just like ADD, like just not good mental health, like very poor mental health. And so I've been thinking, you know, if like this career is so bad for my health, like I don't think I can do this. And just how much time like all the other aspects of it take, and just seeing myself like not even singing anymore, like not even writing music anymore. It's just, I've just been feeling really down, and I've been just contemplating like honestly doing something else, even though I know in my soul that this is my sole purpose. I've known since I was very little that this was my sole purpose. I've never done anything else. I've never wanted to do anything else. I mean, there are other things I enjoy, but I've known that I'm here for music. And even with that knowing, I'm like, honestly, it's just too hard, you know? And I've never been a quitter, but the past few years have just like, they've just done a number on my health. And I was just like, honestly, I don't know if I can keep doing this. So the first thing it told me is like music, and it's like, you are here for music. This is your medicine. Like, you're a healer and music is your medicine. What are you talking about? Are you out of your mind? Look at this 10-year-old girl, you know, look at this 14-year-old girl that got, you know, music tattooed in these Chinese letters on her neck, and was like, you know, and I looked at this 10-year-old girl on my wall, taped on the wall, and I was like, wow, if she knew everything I went to do, everything I've done, she would be so proud of me. She would be so happy, like all her dreams came true. I did everything I wanted to do. So yeah, the first thing it did is it reconnected me to my life's purpose. And it was like, shut the fuck up. You're here for this. And you know you're here for this. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, but, so I'm asking you questions, right? Because you can talk to it. And I'm like, but how do I do it? Like, how do I, you know, how do I deal with these other aspects? Like, how do I get it to people? And it told me, you just make the music, we'll figure out the rest. And boom, wow. The realization of me going from like communist Estonia to America to like actually fulfilling all of my dreams. I didn't know how that was gonna happen, but the fire in my chest was so bright that the universe aligned. And it reminded me that the universe aligns when your desire is strong enough, when you're connected with your purpose, with your passion. You don't have to know how it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. They're gonna make it work. So that was incredibly comforting to know that I can just stay in the vibes. I can just stay in the art. And of course, you know, I'm not naive about it. I know I have to figure out other things, and I have to master, you know, getting it to people from my end as well. I have to do my part. But I don't have to move mountains alone. I have to keep the fire burning, and God will move mountains. And now IBOGA, my dear protector spirit, will move mountains. So that was really amazing. And also, yeah, asking him, but how do I get it to people? He said, you know, you don't have to worry about it. The ones who are supposed to find it, the ones who need it will find it. That's the exact sentence I was told. The ones who need it will find it. It also made me think about Oversoul, and I realized how deeply ceremonial this music is. It sounds like pop music because I made it sound like that on purpose. I wanted to kind of bridge the future and the current and the modern. But the essence of it is like every lyric is a mantra. So I've been intuitively doing all of these things and just getting too caught up with the feeling of having to do it all on my own, and with this constant belief, the belief that I used to have that I am on my own, but I'm not on my own. I'm with God. So that was really amazing. That was really healing. Then it showed me like some dark visual, which was like 1,000 demonic rats coming at me. And I realized that was also, has to do with the moon temple, because I have rats there and I'm afraid of them. Like, I hate them. And so that was kind of shown to me. But with this plant, what's really important is that you're just humble. You're just like, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. So it showed me this dark thing and I was like, okay, yes, thank you. I was like, fuck, if these visuals are gonna be heavy and dark like that, like that's scary. Like, it looked really scary. It can show you scary things. I'm still yet to figure out why it does that exactly, but somehow it takes all these fears from your subconscious and it amplifies them. So it feels almost like it's just throwing pictures at you. It feels like it's going through the filing cabinet of your subconscious and just like showing you things. And then I apologized to an ex, forgave another ex, and also got some messages about my current relationship, which were beautiful. And then I started like getting really bothered by the music, especially by the like Indian Om type of music, which is really strange because I like that music. I use those scales in my own music. And yeah, that's like what I would vibe out to in my own house. But I had like a very visceral bodily reaction. I'm like, I don't like this music. I don't like the dissonant tones. I'm like, I don't like that. That doesn't feel right. And now I'm realizing that this plant likes to work with his own medicine. He told the Bwiti people, build these instruments. There are specific instruments that are supposed to be playing. There are specific frequencies that help it work with your brain. And meanwhile, the people are singing the prayers and all the Bwiti music is completely happy. There is no minor notes, there is no dissonant tones, anything. And I talked to a nurse there at BEOND and I said, this dissonant music isn't working. And now I'm realizing it was a message from the plant. I'm like, this dissonant isn't. And she said, well, it's to kind of like shake loose the traumas. And I understand that. And with some other plant medicines, I really see how that can work. But IBOGA has his own music to shake loose the traumas. It has its own shakers. It has its own drums that are supposed to break loose the traumas. And meanwhile, the songs themselves are just very childlike, playful, like fast. And the first time I heard the Bwiti music, I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not gonna go on a psychedelic trip with this crazy music, and I'm gonna put the playlist beneath so you can listen. It's really, really good, actually, once you get into it. But yeah, at first I was like, oh, obviously I'm not going to do with the Bwiti music. That shit sounds crazy. Now I realized that it's perfectly designed to work with this plant. And then the plant started telling me things about myself, things I already knew, just like my negative qualities. He's like, you're like this, you're like this, you're like this, you're like this, and I'm just like laying there. I have like this discomfort in my body because of like the music, so I'm just like disturbed with it. And to everything it said, I was like, yes, I am. Yes, you're right. That's true. So in Bwiti, they say base. That means true, true, true. So everything is like, you like this. I'm just like, base, base, base. Like, thank you. Yes, you're right. You're right. So just like humility, receive, like, be glad that you have this mirror to mirror those things back to you. And that's why I think it's so important to do your shadow work, because I know these things about myself. And I said in an interview on a podcast with BEOND's founder, Talia, I said, I would be really surprised to find out a negative thing about myself that I don't already know, because I've done so much shadow work. So everything it showed me, like, I was just like, yes, 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 thank you. You're right, base, base, truth, truth. And in a nutshell, that was my trip. I had initially wanted to take 4 pills, but I chickened out. So I took 3 at first, and then I got some visuals. And then, it kind of like rubbed off. Like the trip was over in 2 hours, and then I took another pill, and then it was just kind of like working in my body with no visuals. But a lot of the magic really started unfolding after my trip. So I was escorted to this little room where I spent the night to be under doctor's watch. So they would just like monitor my heart, make sure everything's okay. And then a lot of things started revealing themselves. Like, I used to believe I'm an introvert. Like, that was my identity. And then I was taken back to the time before I had trauma, and I realized I'm not an introvert. I used to believe, I'm just more like better in a studio, not on stage. And then I was taken back to the time in the kindergarten where I climbed on stage and the teacher like punished me for that. So now I believe that I'm not really born for the stage, that I'm more of an introvert. So it's just like everything like starts coming up, and you're also shown like when these things happen to you, or like when did it change? When did you become not who you really are? And there's this saying, like, we're not broken, but I am realizing after this trip that yes, I was broken. And trauma actually breaks you on a way deeper level than you ever realize. Like, it dictates your whole character. Like me not feeling safe to connect with people my whole life because of childhood trauma, that must have affected my life in a huge way. So trauma breaks you. But the good news is there is medicine for trauma. There's medicine for addiction. We don't have to suffer. And I know this medicine will be huge. And as I said in the beginning of the last episode, I think this medicine has the power to take humanity to a new level of consciousness. So yeah, after my first trip, the downloads just started coming and continuing, and just crying in gratitude, realizing what I had just gone through. And the end of my trip was like bodily, like it was uncomfortable. So after the first trip, I was like, I don't know if I want to do it again. Because it wasn't comfortable. It wasn't like, super happy, like feel good trip. But then when all these downloads started coming, I started realizing what profound spirit I'm working with, what profound spirit I now have in my body. And they also say that your first contact with IBOGA is introduction, and your second one is the initiation. And if you've journeyed with the plant twice, it stays with you as a guardian for the rest of your life. So I'm going to pause here, and in the next episode, I'm going to tell you all the crazy and amazing stuff that started unfolding.